Okay, it's August the 11th, and I believe it's Tuesday, and the contractors came here yesterday, and prior to them pouring all this concrete, they had to scrape the bottom of a number of trenches that the prior day rain had washed, and we had some silt and buried rebar that had to be brought up, and then some of that had to be re-excavated, and I'll go into that here when I get down to the bottom of this hill. As you can all see, the outline of this, for those of you who have not been involved in the design of this house, looks somewhat arcane. And I think when the structure gets up, the concrete walls are going to be put in next week, and then once that's done, then we'll start the wood structure going up from there. But once it goes up, it'll all of this will eventually make sense to you all. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take a walk down the left side, and it's pretty narrow here, so you'll have to bear with me. It's not level ground, and the camera may shake a little bit as we walk down, so I'm going to sort of narrate some of this as we go along, move along, and to kind of give you a sense of just how far this house goes back. This, by the way, where I started from is at the front of the house, and you can see all of the excavation that was done to clear out the workspace along these areas for the guys who are doing the foundation work to come in and lay the footings and then eventually put the walls in, and then we're going to have all of that waterproofing system installed beyond that point. And then, of course, the slab will be poured, and this is going to be the basement area. So, again, getting back to the area where, as you can see on the grade part, we had to backfill the grade somewhat in this area because it was we had to bring it up 4 feet in order to compensate for the pitch of the property. In that, had we not done that, the front end of the property would have been down below this elevation that you can see up in front of the house. So this is sort of the end of the knee wall of the concrete foundation wall, that is, and it's going to turn into a poured slab on top of this footing. Now, this trench that you see cut along this pathway here starts out at about 2 feet here and works its way down to natural grade, which at this corner right here goes to about 4.5 feet, and then the middle goes to almost 5 feet deep. All of this is poured solid concrete. Just to give you an idea on how much just this trough held, we actually the foundation guy was telling me when he got finished with everything that he had 3 truckloads of concrete poured for all of this work. And he had to order another additional 6 yards, which the 6 yards is down in this trough right in here. So it was quite a bit of concrete. I think the total was 33 yards for everything, and that includes the garage up above this location here. So as we work out back toward the front of the house, or to the front of the basement, I should say, this outline right here is going to be where the inside of the basement is going to be, and I won't get into where everything is going to be placed until we actually have it in place. So the sections of footing that are here are they're going to be concrete walls established on top of this, and all these rebar tie-ins and everything are for the tie-in rebar formations for the I was just thinking they're going to have to cut 1 or 2 of these rebars out for the doorway to the safe room, because that'll have to be trimmed off. But anyway, I'm sure they're going to take care of that. So then, of course, on this side of the house, there's the walk down on grade, and all of this, well, I'm sure most, if not all of this dirt is going to be used to backfill all of these wall formations that you can see in front of this. It's quite a bit of dirt, but then again, we're going to be using quite a bit of it to put back in place. whatever is remaining, I'm sure there's going to be enough here. We shouldn't never. I'm pretty certain we won't have to haul in any dirt. As a matter of fact, there may be more than what we need. We'll probably have to haul out some of the rest of the dirt that we're not going to be able to use. But the slab again, well, actually, let me back up and say this. The walls, from what our contractor was telling us, are going to be poured next week. The forms are coming down in the middle of the week, and it's going to take them 2 days to set up all of those wall forms. And then right after they do that, they're going to go ahead and start pouring the walls. They're using a pumper truck. They used a pumper truck on these footings, but they're going to bring another one in when the concrete is poured, and then it goes up fast. I mean, that's really the only way to pour this amount of concrete. So the workers were in here for most of the day doing that, but they also had, as I was saying, this portion of the footing, they had to excavate about, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches of dirt that got washed into the trench. We did foundation probe checking on it, and then we couldn't get the 1500 psi that we were after in this trench mainly. It was the only spot. Everything else was on virgin soil. It all tested out really well. Oh, and by the way, the foundation guy brought his laser transit back and double-checked all the siting locations for all these footings. So everything is pretty much right to the drawing on where all the turning points and everything and how all of the footings are laid out. So with that said, we're going to take a walk around the right side and back up to the top so I can show you the garage setup and how that all looks. There's somebody out there leisurely on the lake. This being a weekday, by the way, there's little or no activity out here. The folks that are out here on the weekdays are basically retirees, and they bring their families in from out of town, and they kind of recreate in this location. So that's what you're seeing here now. All right, let's move on. I'm going to make a step up on this because I know we're about almost 7 minutes into this video. We'll make this last part pretty quick. The right side here is pretty narrow, but it's wide enough to get the skid steer and a Mini X back through here. So we're kind of fortunate that we didn't encroach on the neighbor's property to our right, and we have clearance with all of this dirt. We're concerned that we wouldn't have a way to get equipment back here, but as it turns out, we dodged a bullet on that. And this is going to be the back side of the garage. All of these footings, as I was saying, was poured yesterday, and by next week around this time, it'll be ready for the walls to actually be formed and then come up to where the slab is actually going to be poured. So everything takes a week. The curing takes a week. Look at all those grass coming up on. He put this down 2 days ago. It's amazing how fast that stuff comes up. So what you're seeing right here is the front of the garage. It's kind of hard to see from this vantage point, but this will be a garage door here and a garage door there, and then of course the garage itself goes back toward that pile of dirt, and then the walkway goes over to the main level part of the house. And let's take one more vantage point and then we'll shut her down. Again, this is the top end of what would be considered, or is going to be considered, the main level of the house. So all of this down there, what you see, will be buried either in concrete or in dirt. And that should do it. Until next time.